everybody. So I'm in a different location today. Sorry, the sun is very bright out here. But I'll give you a quick view of where I'm at. Oh, will it let me? Oh yeah. So I'm in the Rocky Mountains. Show everybody the beauty. I'm not that deep in. I would need proper hiking gear and stuff like that. Maybe not. But this is where we are. And I figured that this would be the perfect place to talk about the things that I want to talk about today. And I really want to talk about trauma. Trauma. Whether it's sexual abuse trauma, whether it's verbal abuse trauma, whether you've been bullied, relationship trauma, violent trauma, it could be shame trauma, guilt trauma. I'm talking about it all. And I do want to go deeper into specifics, but I really wanted to share that this last week has been rough. Woo, it's been intense. I don't know, maybe this last week and the week prior. So I wanted to share a bit about what I've been doing with my triggers. And one of my biggest things I've noticed is anxiety. Since I was a child, where does it come from? You know, it'll creep up in the most craziest of places sometimes, leaving the house. And I'm not talking recently, I'm talking my whole life. But at a young age, I'm 36 now. This started for me when I was 6, the anxiety. I didn't know what was going on. At the time, it wasn't as well known as it is now, the mental health struggles that we go through. And for anyone who is going through mental health, depression, anxiety, trauma, triggers, you are in panic, whatever state you are in, I want you to know it's okay, that you're safe, and your body is trying to tell you something when these come up. And it's not always easy to face. I'm going to share something very personal. I had a lot of experiences with sexual abuse from a very young age. And not family. We're talking outside of the family. But even then, it does happen within families, and it affects you. Even if it's your parents or your grandmother, or your grandfather or your brother, it doesn't matter who, it affects you, and it affects you even when you're not the victim. But when you are the victim, it does. And for so long, I've been believing I survived it. That's enough, I survived it. That should be enough. And I had to fully admit to myself especially this last week and a bit, that surviving it is not enough. And that's okay. It's okay to still have trauma. Okay? And so when these traumas come up, sometimes we don't even know exactly what it is. So rather than trying to figure it all out, when you have a trigger, I would like to challenge you. Do what feels right, do what feels safe. If you're in an unsafe place when a trigger happens, get the fuck out. I'm not saying stay there. I'm saying what I'm talking about is the emotional part. When a trigger comes up, we can tend to feel it in our face, our arms. For me, a big place in my arms, my gut, my heart, sometimes my throat, especially if in a past situation that I'm being triggered by, my voice was silenced or I never used my voice. I'll feel pulsing, right? There's just pulsing when I'm upset or frustrated. And sometimes I'll feel it in my heart. And I always thought, breathe, allow it to go, allow it to move. And yes, we have to do that as well. But we also have to become aware of what it is that our body is trying to say. And sometimes that can feel like a maze, Our brains are like yarn, okay? Like rolls of yarn, and they're unrolled and they're just everywhere. Now, this is our lifeline. As you start to do your inner work, that ball, that all that misstrewed yarn starts to get rolled up, right? And then it becomes a ball. And that takes time, right? So be patient, be gentle. No matter what it is, be gentle. I mean, I had days this week where I didn't even want to get out of bed. You know, I had so much guilt and shame coming over my body, and I didn't know why, you know? And so I was like, okay, I understand, I'm feeling this. Now what do I do? So I'm here to share what I did. And there's way more than what I have. Trust me, there is more. And I'm always learning and I'm always trying. And I have my days where I'm like, fuck it all, you know? Seriously. And I don't go into it, but when I have those days, I allow them. And I don't judge myself. I don't say, well, I couldn't do this today, so I might as well give up, you know? You keep going. You know, you are not the sum of your actions, okay? You are not the sum of your life. You are not the sum of the things that have happened to you. You are you, purely just you, perfect, born amazing, born worthy, born enough, okay? Remember that. Remember that when things get tough, that struggles happen, you know? So to releasing. For me, I went to chakras. I did research on where specific trauma can be held. And then I learned about it. What does it look like? How does it appear? Because so many of these things can feel elusive to us, or we feel like it's this big giant job that needs to be undertaken, and that sometimes even just alone, the thought of it feels like it's going to take you out. And there's a song by Marianas Trench, and in that song it says, when your heart releases, you won't fall to pieces. And you won't. So when you cry, and then there's pain, and then there's, you know, all these things, they want to be expressed. So I went to my sacral chakra, my root chakra. You know, I asked myself, do I feel safe? Why don't I feel safe? You know, I would often wake up in the mornings and my heart would just be pounding already, anxious. I'm in fight or flight, and I got no idea why, you know, no idea why. And it's like, what is going on? I can't do this. How am I supposed to make it through my day when it's already starting like this? And then it felt like it would almost bring me to my knees some days. You know, I'd be driving to work, doing my errands, and it just had this underlying feeling of, I can't fucking do this. Like, I can't do this. And I pushed on, and then there was days that I pulled back. And anyways, back to the clearing, I went through, and again, this is for myself. I went through and found different meditations on sacral chakra clearings, cord cuttings, you know, and then there's even meditations that are guided, and they're so gentle and beautiful and loving. You know, if you're looking for a place to start, I suggest meditation. I don't say that's what you have to do or not. It's, you do what feels right for you, always. I will tell everybody that. What feels right for me might not feel right for you. You can see a counselor, you know, if that's what helps. It all depends on what works for you and what feels good for you. And when you don't know, research, ask. You know, in this time, I wondered if it was just me. We can do that, you know. It's like, is it all just me? Am I the only one feeling this? Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Or it felt like the pain inside of me. You know, I found myself crying on the kitchen floor. I'd be sitting on my kitchen, you know, nothing pathetic or anything. I mean, not that that's pathetic, but I mean, I would just drop down and go into the emotion, feel what's coming up, and then go into my center, call on my higher self, you know, do these cord cutting meditations. And for anyone who has experienced this, it's not quantifiable. There's no better or worse with any suffering, right? Suffering is not quantifiable. What my version of suffering or gentle suffering might be your version of hell, and vice versa, you know? And that's why we got to be accepting of everybody along the way, or try to be. Do our best. You know, some people, yeah, they can just, get lost. Okay? You'll always come across people like that. But again, it comes from your heart. What do you want to do? What is it that you want to have in your day? Are you looking for happiness? And if you are, what is in the way? For me, I had so much guilt. I had so much shame. I struggled with alcohol for 10 years, brutally. And who knew I carried so much guilt? I knew I carried guilt, right? Because my children in that time, they were all safe. I was very fortunate to have a very supporting family, but don't think for 1 second when I got sober, everything just magically, sorted. It didn't. It takes work, but it's really not as hard as we can think it to be. Sometimes we look at it and it feels like this giant fucking mess, right? It's like, what kind of mess have I created? Wow, and then you have to really look at what you call a mess. Everything that you have been through, everything that you have overcome, everything that you have experienced has been not for nothing. It is for something, and whether that's just to learn and to experience the human experience, right? You're a soul in a human body. I might have to turn here. The sun's getting a little bright. But ask yourself, what is it that you want? Is it happiness? And if so, what can you do now to increase that happiness? Whether that be going for a walk, whether it be watching a funny movie, it doesn't matter. But as you're doing those things and as you are taking conscious steps, like doing a cord cutting, calling on archangels, calling on your higher self, ask and you shall receive, right? If I ever have a question I'm unsure about, I either write it down or I ask the question and I let it go from my mind. And then I don't think about it again. I do my best. If it comes back, I say, no, I'm waiting. The answer will come. The problem is we try to figure it out with our minds, right? We're solutions. We want to find solutions, right? That's what we are. We're doers. We see a problem, we want to fix it, and we want to fix it now. That's a great mindset. However, if you go into any sort of healing with high expectations, chances are you might leave there feeling not resentful, but disappointed. Because, again, expectations lead to, a lot of times, resentments. Because when we have expectations on how something can turn out, we limit the way it can appear to us. So it's like saying, I know how to get from point A to point B, but I'm only going to focus on the straight line from point A to point B. But if you think about it, there is a million other ways to get from point A to point B. So if you are so focused and all you believe is that straight line, you're never going to see the other lines, right? So ask a question, ask for healing, do something for your healing. Another thing I did with my sacral chakra, I placed an intention and then I started to dance. And my intention before was, as I dance and as I feel emotions come up, my intention is to dance them out, move them out, and it's not always instant. We like instant. We like things to happen now, right? It's just the way the world is. And a part of that too is also your soul knows and remembers the part of you that without the 3D limitation remembers that all it took was thought to go from point A to point B. Like that, right? But the 3D experience is slower, right? We go from 5D and we'll just say it's like fast, okay? And then we have 3D, which is like this. Okay, so when we ask for something from the 3D, it's instant to the 5D. Boom, the 5D can absorb it. Now, when the 5D or your angels or your higher self or you're calling in, or manifesting, you are visualizing, remember, it's going to take time because this is a high frequency now. And now it's got to travel through a really dense, heavy dimension, which is the 3D. We're limited by time, right? So it takes time. And the more you change your mind about what it is you want, again, you're shooting off these rockets. Boom, 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 boom. They're all up in 5D. But then you change your mind, and now all of a sudden your initial thought that was coming to you is going to be derailed because now you have a new thought. Now that new thought has to start from way up here and travel down. Okay, so the more we change our mind, which can be tough to not do, the longer it's going to take for something to get to you, and then you're going to feel frustrated. Again, another reason why looking for too many solutions, asking too many questions, or asking too many questions on one topic, especially when you're waiting for answers, it might come in like a whirlwind, and you're going to ask, well, why does this all of a sudden feel chaotic? Well, because your questions that you put out there were chaotic. What you put out comes back. And again, if that happens, it's okay. You choose again. Choose again. Take what feels right and leave the rest. I can't say that every single day the tools and the thinking and the allowing and the flow and the surrender is the same. It's different every day. You know, I could go to bed and I just had the greatest day and I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I'm pumped up. I feel great. And then I wake up in the morning and I feel like a pile of shit. I'm just going to be honest. And it's like, what is going on? You know? So, and another thing too is because we're in such 5D, like the 5D is shifted down, guys. It's down here. It's a part of us. It's part of who we are, right? It's within you. This is who you are, whether or not, you know, you can physically see it. It's within you, okay? So your worth, again, and your ability to connect only really revolves around your belief and whether or not you can. When you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. Remember that. Your thoughts determine everything. And yes, for a long time, I have felt that I have been in my own way. And I still have those days where it's like, Tamara, get the fuck out of your own way. Like, what's going on? But again, we're human. It's about flowing with these, right? Gentle. You know, I stopped being so hard on myself. I realized that, you know, I'm sure you guys all do this too. Not all of you, but say you are walking and you drop your phone, right? What's the first thing you say? Wow, I'm an idiot, right? Or, wow, that was stupid. Or, you know, you walk into something and you're like, wow, I really need to pay better attention, right? Instant judgments, right? We don't even realize that voice is your encouragement, is your inspiration, and it can also be your greatest, biggest, harshest critic. Oh, look, I want to show you guys. We got a visitor. He just kind of came and popped up over here. Anyways, wanted to show you guys that. Look at the mountains behind me. Just give everybody a chance to look around. It's beautiful. And I live less than an hour, okay, away from the mountains here. And the amount of times I have taken to come up here in my life is I can count on one hand. Like, what's that about? But again, so much, that's another thing. I've been judging myself on the things that I want to do that I haven't done. And then a gentleness came back and reminded me that so many of these things that I've wanted to do were so difficult because of my anxiety, my mental health, you know, where people said I should be different, I should do this, I should do that. So I started to change the way that I lived my life because I was trying to fit in. Okay? I'll tell you right now, fuck fitting in. Fuck it. Fuck it all. The ones that love you will love you. Is it Dr. Seuss? He says, the ones that matter won't mind, and the ones who mind won't matter. Okay, and I'm really learning this. Doing my best, and it's tough. It's a flow. It comes and it goes. But it's always bringing you back to you, right? Only you go to bed in your head. Only you wake up in your head. So what are you going to do about it? And I'm telling you, it's scary. Even facing a lot of the guilt and the shame that I did not realize affected my relationship with my children. It affected my relationship with my mom, with everybody in my life. I was filtering everything through the lens of shame and guilt, because that is what was so prevalent in me. And I realized it was also one of the main causes of my anxiety. Like, wow, it was a light bulb moment for me, going back. And again, we don't need to necessarily know what causes these things. You just have to set a loving intention and ask for it. You are your power. You, anything that helps you is your higher self. Yes, we have angelic beings. Yes, we have star nations. I mean, we have thousands of star nations helping us, guys. We got the inner earth, right? Telos, Adama, if you guys don't know what that is, feel free to look into it. But archangels, there's an archangel for every single thing you can think about, and there are many. And then there are angels. You have your guardian angel. You have your guides. Like, these are all people, beings, light beings that are 24/7 around you. And when I got my animal guides, they came to me in 2020. I was so surprised when I got them. I got an eagle came to me, a bear, and a wolf. And I thought, wow, these are some badass animals, but why are they coming to me? I couldn't even accept for a little while that they were mine, that they were there to guide me, because it came back to my worth. Why am I worthy enough to have these? So that took some time. I've seen my higher self. I've seen my higher self and the people who stand behind me, right? The people who stand around me, like my tribe. And even then, I've wondered sometimes, like, why? Why? Because why would there be so much honor for each of us? Not each of us, not you guys. I mean, specifically me. I can see it for everybody else. It's seeing it for ourselves, right? That can be tough. So, trauma and triggers. When a trigger comes up, if you can, like I said, if you're in a safe place, get the fuck out. If not, try to sit down and realize that even within the chaos of emotion, your emotional body sits outside of you, okay? It's like a bubble. It's always moving. It's always flowing, okay? The mind is another bubble. It's separate from emotions. Yet, they are so intertwined. So as a trigger comes up, breathe. Slow down. It's okay if you feel scared. Remind yourself, or have someone remind you that you're safe. Ask yourself, where am I? And then answer yourself, I'm right here. Where are my feet? Where am I sitting? Where are my hands? Okay, and now where is my mind going? And then slow down, because there's going to be a lot. A lot of times it's like a whirlwind. Slow down. Try to get out of the mind. Observe. Feel it in your body. I've been doing this with my son, who's 18. And he has anxiety as well. And the minute he wants to get up and just be like, I can't do this, I ask him, breathe. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to feel where you feel that feeling is coming from. Feel it in your body. Stop giving it a voice. Just feel. Feel it and see what comes up. Find out where it is. Is it in your stomach? Is it in your heart? Is it in your throat? And then as you breathe, try to picture you are breathing your breath as love, as light, as relaxation into those parts. So if it's in your throat, breathe it in, observe it. You will see it start to move, or not see, you will feel it. It'll calm down. It will move. Sometimes it takes longer. Some are going to be longer. Some are going to be shorter. But again, it's about that trigger is a subconscious part of your brain trying to tell you that you're unsafe. Okay? It's doing what it's great at doing, right? Storing and giving out data. Your job is to try and change that experience. Remind your brain, hey, right now I'm safe. And even if you didn't feel safe back in that moment, that's okay. Go back there with your sense of self now and sense of safety once you found it, and surround yourself with so much safety in any moment that happened, anything that came up. And the more you do this, the more you're going to realize that your brain is going to, not even you, your brain will stop firing and warning you, because now you're going to teach your brain, I'm safe. Yes, that happened. Because we can't change what happened, guys. We can't go back and change it. The only thing we can do is heal our perception of it now. Okay? Heal our perception of it now. And there's many ways to do that. Being the observer and not being caught up in that whirlwind. I'm telling you, it helps. When that whirlwind of thought and emotion, and it's in your arms, it's in your legs, you want to get up, you want to move, you don't want to sit still, you feel angry, you feel like crying sometimes, you feel like you could just, blow up, I remember there was times where it was so intense for me. I remember saying to my son, I think if my body were to blow up right now, it would be like a nuclear bomb. That's how I would picture my energy sometimes, because it was that fucking intense, and it's a process. And I'm telling you, the more gentle you are, and the more you make it simple, focus on one thing. If you want to focus on 10, you can, but it's going to take you a lot longer to sort through the 10 than the 1. Better to shift through 1, heal it, and let it be gone. Then you only have 9 to deal with, not 10. Okay? Then you go to the 9th one when it comes up. If there's 100, it doesn't matter. If I counted the amount of triggers I have, I don't know, they're fleeting at times, and other times they're unexpected, right? And other times it's like, I see you now, right? And as they come up now, because I've been willing to go into them, even when they're hard, especially when they're hard. There's times where I've gone into these in the past week, and I was crying. I was crying so hard, guys. I was like, I wasn't even making noise, And it felt like it was from such a deep, deep place within my soul. Like, it felt painful. It felt unfair, it felt cruel. And so much of it was not understood by me. And then I realized that a lot of that was, again, my brain storing information, not necessarily with the story, but just the fight or flight. And I had to go through it. Some people will say you don't have to feel it, you can clear it and let it go. But guys, this is a world of experience. It's a world of karma. Choose what feels right for you. There are some things we can heal and let go and have assistance. And then there are some things that you need to understand why it's happening. Because as you understand why it's happening and as you heal yourself, you become so fucking powerful for healing other people, right? And again, that's not your goal, to go out and heal other people. Your goal is for you. But as you heal, I'm telling you, there's just going to be a part of you that's going to see others suffering, that's going to want to stop suffering. You've all felt that, I'm sure of it. So, that has always been my drive. Suffering. I want to see the end of suffering, you know? I always remind myself that no, despite how hard, heavy, cruel, whatever words you want to use, our lives could have been, or in certain moments, it always made me love harder. If I didn't get love, I loved someone else harder because I knew what it was like to not be loved, right? So it teaches us, right? We can be a victim to our situation, and it's okay to be in that state, to release, because at a point you were a victim, period. But don't stay there, because if you stay there, the person who attempted to take your power, they don't win, but you don't win. You don't move forward. It's the same thing when it comes to forgiving someone. It's not about letting them off the hook. No. You can forgive and not forget. You can forgive and move on. Just because you forgive someone doesn't mean you need to be in their life. It doesn't mean they deserve your attention or anything like that, right? You can forgive. But when you forgive, guys, it's not about the other person. It's really about you. And what are you willing to hold on to? What do you want to define your life? Do you want this memory, this anger, this frustration, this guilt? Do you want it in your life? I know for so long I felt holding on to it felt easier. Little did I know it was eating away at me for the last 30 years, okay? And I just realized that. And it wasn't easy to admit. It wasn't easy to admit that there was something I had to change. It's never easy. It feels hard. Sometimes it can feel impossible. And that's why I say, one thing at a time. You know, be gentle. If you have a goal and you want to have more love in your life, give love. Whether that be to your plants, whether that be to yourself, you know, give love to yourself. Order yourself fast food. Ask someone else to do something for you, you know? Take a vacation. Go for a walk. Whatever it is that gets you to disconnect from the chaos that is so heavy right now. And the only reason it's heavy is because it wants to get out. You have felt what it's like to feel peace. So now anything that's the opposite is going to come up screaming. Okay? And another thing too, when those things come up screaming, they can overtake us so much that even if we say there was a time where you didn't struggle, say the last 3 months you've been doing good, and then all of a sudden your anxiety or your depression comes back and it takes over your life. Instantly, within a day, okay, or a couple hours, it's so easy to say, oh, this has been happening my whole life. Or this is never ending, because we forget even those 3 months where we were kicking ass, right? And even if you're anxious, you're still kicking ass. And you're kicking ass because you're still here. Give yourself credit if you've been through addiction, mental health, anxiety, abuse, relationship nightmares, family nightmares, you name it. Guys, come on, there's so much more. But give yourself credit because you're still here. You're watching this video. You're on Facebook, you know, you're looking. Give yourself credit. You have made it this fucking far. And trust me, you're going to keep going. And in those moments that are hard, allow them to be hard too. I'm not saying let it take over your day. I'm saying when you feel sad, feel fucking sad. Admit it. That is the truth of what you are feeling. It doesn't mean, oh, I'm sad, my whole day is ruined now. No, right now. Right now I'm sad. Right now I'm angry. Right now I'm annoyed. Right now I'm frustrated. Right now I feel done. Okay? Feel it. Do you feel like crying? Do you feel like walking? Are you trying to change your mind or focus on something else as a distraction? Remember, avoiding is resistance. You want to avoid resistance by allowing. Stop judging what comes up and let it come up and ask yourself, why is it coming up? It's not for nothing. Guys, these things didn't just magically appear out of nowhere, right? And again, it's not all our fault. The things that have happened to you, the horrible things that have happened to you, especially at the hand of someone else, are never your fault, okay? But they are your responsibility to heal. And that, again, is hard to hear. It can piss you off. I know it pissed me off too sometimes. There's days where it's like, I feel mad that I'm the one left dealing with a bunch of shit, you know? It passes, but again, you are allowed to have those feelings, okay? The more you push them down and try to deny or ignore that they exist, the louder they're gonna get, because the fact is they exist. They are there. It doesn't mean it's who you are. It means it's something that is not who you really are, and it wants to get out. And as you face these things right now, guys, the amount of energetic support that we have from your higher self, from light workers, the amount of light workers that are working right now, just by being here, your light is connecting to millions, okay? So you're not alone. Even when you feel alone, you're not alone. Close your eyes and remember that there is millions like you that are emitting love. And the moment you do that, you rise up and you join into this massive grid, this massive bubble, it's all around of love, and you can connect. And the more of us that do that, the more powerful it gets. And I'm telling you, when you heal and you connect to that grid, just because there's so many people doing the same thing you are, it's like what would take, let's say, a year to heal. You can now heal in a day of crying. It's all to do with your intention. It's powerful, guys. Like, you are powerful, right? So there may be more I want to talk about, but guys, my phone is dying. So I want to give you a quick last look around. I mean, these mountains are beautiful. I'm just at the beginning, but very busy roads, and I didn't want to go too far in. But at any time today, if you don't know what to do, or you're not sure where to go, or you're not sure, come back, look at the mountains. They're beautiful, and they just are. They didn't have to earn that. They didn't have to be enough for anybody. They're just majestic, they're mighty, and they're amazing. And that's like you guys. Just like you. Majestic, mighty, and amazing. The earth can feel like chaos. Everything can feel horrible at times. There's beauty, I promise. If you can't find beauty in your home or in your family, or doesn't matter, whatever, find it somewhere. It can be the smallest of things. It can be the smile that someone gave you at the store, or, you know, that person who bought you a coffee. I don't know if that happens to you guys. It happens here in Calgary often. I think Canadians, we're so kind. So many times I go through the drive-thru and people have bought my food, you know, and it's like, oh wow, thank you. You know, those little things, it's just like, wow, the human spirit is fucking amazing and so kind and so powerful. And we can often forget how powerful we are. So you guys are powerful. You guys rock. You guys are amazing. If you have any more questions, about anything I've said, I will always do my best. Again, do what feels right. I am not the end all know all to everything, not even close. I just share what I go through and what I know helps me. So when I do it with love, I do it with compassion, and I do it because I know how awesome you guys are. How awesome we all are, right? So I love you all, and I will see you guys. Maybe I'll do another live again in the next couple days. Until then, keep being fucking awesome. Keep kicking ass, whatever it is you have to do. If you are crying, know you're kicking ass. If you're laughing, you're kicking ass. If you're going through a trigger, you're kicking ass. You're even more kicking ass, right? When you're feeling like you're down, because guess what? You're still fucking going. You still got out of bed, okay? Give yourself the credit you deserve. Always. Love you guys. Bye.